Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Gaming News. This time around, I wanted to talk about the upgraded Nintendo Switch that will soon be releasing. I wanted to specifically address something about Nintendo in general, but first a quick review of what every Tom, Dick, and Harry on YouTube has already covered. A swift bullet point summary of the Bloomberg article that everyone's covered would be that the updated version of the Switch would have, and I quote, OLED display and support for 4K graphics for the holiday 2021 selling season. Woohoo. The benefits of this new console would be the OLED panel will consume less battery, offer higher contrast, and possibly faster response time when compared to the Switch's current liquid crystal display. Now that the summary is done, I want to explore the untamed landscape of my position regarding Nintendo as a console manufacturer. Nintendo has been a favorite of mine since the mid to late 80s, but I've also gotten to the point where I don't feel like buying the new Nintendo console because if the console isn't going to perform well enough to play all of the AAA third-party cross-platform games I want, then why buy it? Nintendo really needs to beef up their next console, whether it be the upgraded version of the Switch that's allegedly coming out at the end of this year, 2021, or if it's the next console over the horizon, a few years from now. I'd like to be able to play the new Resident Evil remakes, the new Final Fantasies, Square Enix permitting, Cyberpunk, I don't know, the next Elder Scrolls. I think you get the point. To simplify my thoughts in a quick summary, Nintendo has kind of gotten into a comfortable space where they don't mind selling underperforming consoles because, as we all know, kind of their motto is, if it's not fun, why do it? And I get that. I dig that. I appreciate that. That's part of Nintendo's charm. However, big fat comma, it's getting a little irritating where I'm looking at the new Nintendo console saying, gee, I would really like to play the new Mario game. I'd really like to play the new Zelda game. I'd really like to play the new Mario Kart iteration. But, man, the Switch is really underpowered. And that tells me the games I really want to play are not going to be available on that console. Now, that's why I say, in my own personal humble opinion, I believe that Nintendo needs to start beefing up their consoles to be on par, stand on equal ground as the other console makers. Because, as I've said, I'd like to play the updated titles on one console. What I've been doing over the past few years, probably over the past decade or so, I've been purchasing the newest Nintendo console because I love me some Mario, but I also purchase another console that can play all the AAA titles that I actually want to play. All the other games that everybody else plays, like your Resident Evil remakes and so on and so forth. And that's what basically what I'm saying is I would like the best of both worlds. I'd like Nintendo to beef up their consoles so I could get best of both worlds. That's pretty much my thoughts on Nintendo. Please tell me whether you agree, whether you don't agree, whether you think I'm a lone nut in this. I can't be the only person who thinks this. There has got to be more gamers out there. They're thinking, yeah, it would be nice if Nintendo could beef up their consoles more. As an example, I love The Witcher 3. It's actually one of my favorite games as of late. I sunk almost 300 hours, actually over 300 hours in that game. It's a fantastic game. I love that game. But the Nintendo port is kind of a downgrade. And I'm not the type of guy that's going to double dip on a game where one version of the game is worse than the one that I already have. See, I have The Witcher 3 on Steam. I don't need to double dip The Witcher 3. I wouldn't have minded had, I don't know, the Switch been more powerful, and so the gaming experience I'm getting out of The Witcher 3 is on par, like all of the other consoles, then it would have been okay, and I may have convinced myself to buy it again, but I normally don't double dip because it's kind of a silly idea. So like I said, Nintendo, if you ever get to hear this, please, for the love of all that is holy, beef up your consoles. I'd like to play other games other than first-party Mario and Zelda titles. That would be nice. Until next time, guys, have fun.